All right, let's move on now to our next slide, slide number 20, which is on procedural knowledge. Now, procedural knowledge, again, underneath strategic knowledge, and if we can kind of think of, in some ways, the example I like to think of also is in terms of assessment. When we look at strategic knowledge, that would be akin to that summative assessment. What do we want students to be able to do, say, at the end of course? What are they kind of building toward? The procedural knowledge is kind of the building blocks to get them there. So, for instance, if I'm a football tackle, how do I go about blocking? Well, the procedure is my practice. I'm practicing doing this and that, and then the strategic knowledge, really its main import is at the end of the course where we see, oh, okay, in this situation, can the student do X? So for instance, if I'm blocking, can I actually do that in a game? So I do different practices in order to make myself better by way of the procedure. Now, I was working with my 12-year-old Etienne. She's a 7th grader, and she was working on the concept of slope. And I thought this was a good example of procedural knowledge because, there are a couple different ways to proceed. I get the X and Y factors, and then I can figure out the slope, or I can get a couple of points on the line and figure out the slope. So again, you want to think about the procedures of your own course and how those move forward. And there are some good examples on your wiki page too in terms of looking at that. Questions to consider then are, again, the methods and techniques, and we'll look at that in just a second. So that's on slide 21. If we go to slide 22, we go to factual knowledge, and again, that's fairly straightforward. Those are the basic building blocks. I go back to my blocking example. I know that if I'm caught for holding, I have a 15-yard penalty. Okay, but again, teachers tend to get caught up with the factual part and really don't make it to the strategic knowledge section. Again, these are kind of the nuts and bolts, kind of the comprehension and knowledge level with which you're familiar. If you go on to slide number 23, these are the ideas to keep in mind as you're trying to set up that cognitive apprenticeship. What principles, theories, structures are going to be important for students to really come away with some enduring knowledge for the course. Let's go to our next part here, which is on wiki pages and the editor. This is on slide number 24. So we've just gone over the essential questions and then also the different types of knowledge, and please work with that. Again, if you have questions or comments, feel free to email me, but I think many of your questions will be answered if you go not to that left-handmost category on your own wiki, but instead the center category, which provides description, or the right-hand category, which gives a variety of examples. Okay, on to slide 24 now, wiki pages and the editor. In setting up each of your own wikis, I had to do this kind of page by page, so it is a little bit labor intensive, even if you have a template from which to work. Again, you're trying to set up a series of links here. So we go to slide number 25. What is a wiki? I know Steve Hessler knows this. A wiki comes from the Hawaiian wiki, which means fast. And perhaps you're familiar with the Wikipedia, which is an online encyclopedia, which a lot of folks think is outdistancing Encyclopedia Britannica. I know Wikipedia is not without criticism. There are a lot of people who think, well, you can just put anything in there, but that anything in there is quickly corrected to what should be correct and proper. And there are people who claim that Encyclopedia Britannica has some errors in it as well. So again, the Wikipedia though, if you go into Wikipedia, there are pages, but then those pages link to other pages. Or if you're like me and have a Facebook account or even Netflix, you see that page, but even within that page, there are different highlighted sections. You click on the highlights. Well, that is really kind of an interconnected wiki at that point. So it's a repository for content then. We'll use this not only for our own class, but I'd urge you to think about using it for your own class activities, and you can do this in a variety of ways. For my class in the American Dream Deferred, I set up a wiki for kind of Catholic social justice teaching, and so then I set up various categories within Catholic social justice teaching, for instance, preferential option for the poor or concern for personhood. I set up 5 or 6 different categories, and then students work within their own category, answering a series of questions. Or later I'm doing a little bit on Frederick Douglass, so I've set up the wiki where different elements of his life at different times students can look at and then proceed forward with that. All right, let's go to slide number 26 now, which is the Moodle Docs wiki. This is a good example of another wiki which you'll have right in front of you with Moodle. Moodle Docs is a series of pages that you can connect to. If you go to within Moodle, at the bottom of the page, in the lower left-hand corner, you click there, and depending on what page you're on, it will bring up a document that speaks about the activities on that page. And you'll find them very well written, succinct, to the point. Now you must log on to Moodle Docs in order to get that page, but I've found that a great source within Moodle. So spend some time looking at that should you have the chance. Slide number 26. All right, let's go on to slide number 27, which is adding your own Moodle page. And perk up your ears here. This is a little content, and I think it's really important that you get this down. So in order of adding your own wiki page, you want to go to Edit. Remember, we saw that Edit tab, so click on the Edit tab. And then you want to, as we see here on the slide, to add a wiki page, you want to use those square brackets. So to link one page to another, as we see here where it talks about referring to IPP pedagogy, you can see around IPP there are square brackets. That means if there's already a page called IPP, it will link to that page. If there is not a page called IPP, it will create a new page. And let's see how that is done. So if you go to slide 28, you can see here Tom's demonstration is in square brackets. All right. Then you just simply push save. All right, so that's fairly easy, isn't it? Square brackets, push save, and then we go to our next slide, slide number 29. After you pushed save, then this page pops up. You can see here that now Tom's demonstration, it's underlined, and then next to it there's a question mark in brown. That question mark in brown means that there is a page to be set up now for you to put information about that demonstration. So you can see here the window number 4 pops up. If you click on that brown triangle, that window pops up, and you can add your own content at that point. Push save. At that point, the brown question mark disappears, and if you were to click once again now on Tom's demonstration, it would immediately take you to what you had typed in part number 4 there.